All in Sports Network. We love sports.
The Kansas City Chiefs are facing off against the Indianapolis Colts this Sunday, and we officially have our first injury report of the week. We've got some major developments there, talking about names like Kingsley Suamataia on the offensive line and Isaiah Pacheco back at practice, but is he actually going to play this weekend? We got some updates for you there as well. And a crazy situation. Would the Kansas City Chiefs be interested in signing Odell Beckham Jr.? He's now eligible to be signed and to be played. We talk about the report that suggests Kansas City as a top target for OBJ right here, right now on the Chiefs Report. I'm Jace Andrews. We're happy you chose to join us here on the Rogue Sports Network and, of course, making us one of your daily listens in terms of Chiefs podcast. We are going to keep pumping out content as per usual, but some cool things on the horizon. Got some shorter videos going to be cutting out of our lives, got shorts, and a couple of new things coming up in the future. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and stay tuned on YouTube. And if you are a part of our listeners on Apple or on Spotify, guess what? Going to be putting some smaller episodes together there as well, potentially in the future. So make sure you hit that follow button on those platforms. But today, let's start by talking about OBJ, because this is an intriguing one because, well, to be quite honest, I saw the report of Odell Beckham Jr. being eligible to be signed, not just eligible to be signed, but especially off the 6-game suspension that he had been applied to him, or whatever the suspension was, and can now be signed and can be played by an organization. So, funny enough, there were reports flying all over about which team would be best fit, and the Chiefs came up, and funny enough, they were named a contender to sign OBJ. Now, there obviously has to be some backing to this and kind of talking about what is the probability? Are there other teams that could be maybe a better fit for him? Well, it's actually a pretty reputable source. In fact, this comes straight from Bleacher Report, and not just a report from Bleacher Report, but also the Chiefs back in 2024 in the free agency period there. They were one of the teams that looked and considered into signing Odell Beckham Jr. They made the right decision by not doing it. But now they could fill out a receiver room that was, quote, plagued by injury last season. However, this year is a kind of interesting situation because you've got Rashee Rice, you've got Xavier Worthy, you've got Hollywood Brown. If you get OBJ, he would then be kind of taking away targets in some aspect from guys like Travis Kelce, guys like Juju Smith-Schuster, guys like Tyquan Thornton. And I like the skill sets of Juju and Tyquan. Obviously, Kelsey's in a different realm of his own. I don't think the targets will necessarily go away from him, but just be kind of interesting how they would use OBJ. However, I think the point can be made when talking about Odell that if an injury does occur in the next coming weeks, he is a very obvious choice for a multitude of different reasons. And we kind of have to go look at his career because it has recently been an up and down affair. Obviously, you go back to his Giants days from 2014 to 2018, making, in my opinion, I know obviously being a child when this catch occurred makes it a little bit more special, but I truly do believe that he made the best catch in NFL history, and I have a really hard time believing that that catch will ever be topped in some aspects. There's been some that are close, but I'm always going to say that one was the one that is quote unquote the creme de la creme. But in his years in New York, it was a very good seasons, very good first 3 seasons for him. He had 1,300 yards his rookie year in 2014, 1,400 yards in 15, and then 1,300 yards in 16. He had an injury in 2017, but then back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons with New York in 2018 and Cleveland in 2019. By the way, that 1,000-yard season in 2018, he only appeared in 12 games. But since that point, that 2019 season with Cleveland, not only have injuries reared the ugly head, but it's also just been a tough go of things when he's been healthy enough to be on the field. You look at 2020 and having just 7 games, had 319 yards, a 13.9 average, but only just the 3 touchdowns. But the 2021 season was where it kind of is a try and bounce back year. He played 6 games with Cleveland, 8 games with Los Angeles, totaling for 44 receptions combined, 537 yards, 5 touchdowns, all of those being with the Los Angeles Rams. The past 2 seasons, it's been lackluster at best. He has had only just a combined not even 100 targets, 64 in 2023, 18 with Miami in 2024, 565 yards in the 2023 season with Baltimore, 55 yards on 9 receptions, and a 6.1 average in his season with Miami. So is he the same Odell Beckham Jr. that he was in his rookie years or at LSU? No, and I don't think that if the Chiefs or any team for that matter were to sign him, they would officially believe that this guy is warranted for that spot or warranted to come out here and say, hey, we're going to give him targets. No, he would have to earn them. He would have to, in a lot of reality, make the plays that you have to make to then get the respect from Patrick Mahomes in some aspect. There's a chemistry factor to this, and we talk about the names that I just mentioned and kind of going back to people. Rashee Rice is going into what his third season now with the Kansas City Chiefs. You talk about the second season for Xavier Worthy, the second season for Hollywood Brown. Obviously, we know the connection is there with Travis Kelce and Juju. Tyquan's newer, but he's still been here since the preseason, has been making some very good deep ball passes and or deep ball receptions, I should say. So, in a lot of aspects, do I believe that signing OBJ would benefit this team? In certain situations, yeah. But I think that that certain situation is warranted by injury. And so, as of right now, and knock on wood here that nothing changes, nothing goes awry, and there's no injuries in the upcoming weeks versus either Indianapolis or in the Thanksgiving game versus the Dallas Cowboys. I don't think it's worth it because ultimately it's going to be a 1 year fluff contract. And if nobody gets injured or you don't start winning in these next two games, what's the point of going out and making this move and spending the money for what is going to be probably an overpay because of the name? Now, at the same time, OBJ knows his situation and with the injuries and suspensions and um, everything that he has kind of entailed himself into the past couple of years, I'm sure he's more expecting for that contract to be a little lighter of a load. But at the same time, there is some ways that they could do it. And if he'd like to sign a practice squad contract, the Chiefs have a veteran spot open there. Could easily slot him in there. But uh, I find it hard to believe that OBJ would even care to do that at this point. I mean, let's be honest. If I was Odell Beckham Jr. and I made a ton of money and I'm still a very popular person, am I going to go spend my time on the Chiefs practice squad hoping for a chance when the team is 5-5? Or could I get a practice squad signing somewhere else that maybe has a more legitimate shot to make the playoffs? Not that the Chiefs don't have a legitimate shot to make the playoffs, but in terms of weighing his opportunities, Patrick Mahomes does warrant some growth and some want to play for the Kansas City Chiefs. But overall, in this situation, I think for OBJ and for his camp, this is probably something that, well, going to be more up to the teams. Like he can say all he wants, and there's been some cool edits of him being in Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes, obviously knowing the um, history of these two, and would obviously love to finally kind of make that a reality. And this graphic was posted, or if you're watching, got a graphic of both Odell and Patrick up. And it was posted 9 weeks ago. It wasn't like it was 2 years ago, but Beckham, he's 32. He doesn't want to retire. And with Mahomes, he could definitely be a reliable target. But again, I think it definitely requires injury. And in this post, it was about Rashee Rice being suspended and Xavier Worthy nursing the shoulder injury. So, in that aspect of things, I really do sit here and think, okay, it warrants to be said that the injury is the thing that could potentially make this a legitimate possibility. If there was not an injury, which again, knock on wood, I don't want. I don't want Xavier Worthy or Rashee Rice or whoever to get injured. However, if that were to happen, I do think OBJ is definitely a good safety net just because of his veteran status, the ability to be a little bit more versatile than probably some of these veterans, but it is a riskiness because he also has injury issues. So unless there is some external factors going around with that, I don't see the Chiefs truly making a move for Odell Beckham Jr. anytime soon. Okay, guys. So that's the story with OBJ. Obviously, some interesting reports on that. But the biggest thing today, and the thing that I think is obviously going to have more effect on the team in the future, is definitely going to be the latest injury updates. And obviously, the practice today was the first one for the Chiefs in Week 12 as they look to face off against what is technically the number 2 team in the AFC or number 3, whatever way you want to look at it, because as of right now, they just had their bye, and Denver and um, New England have both not had their bye, so they are both 9-2. Meanwhile, the Colts are technically 8-2, so in theory, a half game back, quote unquote. But again, it's just because they had their bye, and New England and the Denver Broncos have not. So, where does that stand us talking about the injury updates? Obviously, that's what we're here for. Well, today we got some latest updates. Kingsley Suamataia, if you remember, he was actually in concussion protocol in the game versus the Denver Broncos, and it seemed to be rather serious for a couple of different reasons. One, because obviously he went out and immediately was ruled out. Like, it was pretty instantaneously, which if you go into concussion protocol, it takes about 2 minutes to tell if you're going to be out the game and have to go into full concussion protocol, or if you are fine and can go back in the game. It really does not take long. But he was ruled out relatively quickly, and he will not practice for the Chiefs today, which is not a surprise again, because not only did he get ruled out instantaneously, and I don't have the photo to show you right now, but he was helped off the field and had a Chiefs training staff member on each of his arms. And not that I want to insinuate anything, but last time I checked, if you have a concussion and have to be helped off the field, that's a pretty gnarly concussion, and I would highly, highly doubt that he is going to be anywhere active for this Sunday's game versus the Indianapolis Colts, which again is a very big thing to look at, just simply put, because, well, the offensive line has been such a good thing for the Chiefs, and it's given Patrick Mahomes plenty of time. It's just about him making the plays after that. And Kingsley's been a big part of that. Obviously, getting Josh Simmons back is a huge thing. And he talked to the media today, funny enough, for the first time in a bit, and really kind of thanked the Chiefs organization. We'll show you that in just a minute here. But also a couple more informations on the injury side of things. Xavier Worthy, quote unquote, tweaked his ankle per Coach Reid in the walkthrough. So he is not going to practice today, it looked like. In the original post here from Matt McMullen, the quote that Andy Reid said is that they will have to wait and see how he's feeling in regard to practice. He was out on the field, however, he was on the sideline with a bunch of the coaches. He was basically held out today. However, it seemed like a minor injury just through walkthrough. In terms of the tone that we got from Coach Reid, it did seem like there's not a worry for Xavier Worthy, and he should be back tomorrow in full strength. But the biggest news today, at least on the injury side of things, Isaiah Pacheco with that MCL injury will practice and did practice today. Now, do we expect to be in a full capacity? No, we haven't got the official injury report out just yet. However, we did get some video of Isaiah Pacheco, if I can get that to load. But you can kind of see him here on the just walking around. And if you look at that right knee, it's got a pretty heavy brace on it. Pretty heavy brace. And so when that is being looked at, obviously there are a multitude of NFL players that wear that like heavy duty brace on that right leg or on any leg. But ultimately for Isaiah Pacheco, it's a little more important just because, well, he's a running back. He's going to use that leg very, very heavily. But good to see him back out there on the practice field. Good to see him able to come out and get some work in and hopefully be available for the upcoming game versus the Indianapolis Colts. Again, we'll get some more updates on him throughout the week. But when we come back here, we're going to take a quick break. We'll talk about Josh Simmons and what he said to the media for the first time after his 5-week hiatus and talking about Kansas City. We talk about Patrick Mahomes and his media availability today. And also a little bit more on Isaiah Pacheco and what he could really do for this team if he's able to play come Sunday versus the Colts. So we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back here on the Rogue Sports Network.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internix.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Elevate your experience with Grinco Science, the leaders in cutting-edge vaporizers. Whether you're at home or on the go, our sleek, powerful devices deliver smooth, consistent hits every time. Quality you can trust, innovation you can feel. Grinco Science. Take your vapor game to the next level. Visit us at GrincoScience.com. At Terrapin Ridge Farms, they believe in the joy of effortless entertaining. Inspired by CEO Mary O'Donnell's mom and her legendary holiday parties, they've crafted a line of gourmet foods that turn any meal into a celebration. From savory jams to mustards, aiolis, and more, their products are made with love, bringing unforgettable flavors to your table. Whether it's a casual get-together or a special occasion, they make it easy to impress. Terrapin Ridge Farms, where great food and great memories come together. Visit them at terrapinridge.com. Terrapin Ridge.
Do you ever have a story that you just can't get out of your head?
One that you play the details of over and over with your friends?
Well, you've come to the right place. I'm Claire.
And I'm Susan.
And this is Justice Pending,
a weekly true crime podcast where we discuss tantalizing crimes with more questions than answers.
Thanks for joining us.
Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Combine that with OrganicHemp.com's top quality CBD for ultimate balance. Start your healing journey today at GlobalHealing.com and OrganicHemp.com.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
It all began with a simple idea, cutting handles off old ski sticks to create better pull-up bars. This sparked the creation of the revolutionary Engels 90 handles. After testing over 70 prototypes with 300 athletes, our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Ready to bring your vision to life? At Small Rig, every idea, design, and product is inspired by you, the creator. With our industry-first under co-design mode and the Dream Rig free customization project, we unite with global creators to turn big dreams into reality. Whether it's a cage rig or mount, Small Rig's versatile gear is built to elevate your craft. Small Rig, where your creativity meets our innovation. Go to smallrig.com.
Unlock a world of convenience with Mully Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your tastes. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com.
Welcome back here to the Chiefs Report. Jay Sanger speaking with you as we went through the injury report. Kingsley Suamataia not practicing today. I feel that it's very unlikely he will end up being with the team come Sunday against Indianapolis in Arrowhead Stadium. Obviously, though, the Chiefs have had their fair share of offensive line conundrums. Speaking of Josh Simmons, which is kind of where we go to into our next report of the day is, if you remember, or maybe if you don't, Josh Simmons took a leave of absence, quote unquote, for a family matter for about 5 weeks. And there was a lot of grace from the Kansas City Chiefs organization. The outside world, including us, don't know what happened, and nor do we need to know what happened. It's family matters. However, 5 weeks felt like a long time eventually, especially for your first round pick. Now, he played fantastic against Denver, did not miss a beat against Nick Bodino. He was really, really good. But at the end of the day, he didn't talk to the media with the bye week. And so finally today, he had the chance to speak with the media. And let's go to what he said. Here is what it was. He said, quote, "I want to thank Kansas City and this club for having my six for the time I was away from the team. It showed how much love this team and city has for me, and I can't wait to give it back to them." Obviously, he was, I'm not going to say emotional, but you could obviously tell that this is something that was hard for him to speak on. So I think that alone should probably tell you what kind of family matter he was potentially going through. I do like the response there of, I'm not going to answer any questions about it. I'm not going to tell you what happened. I'm not going to do that. I'll talk about my performance last week against Denver. I'll talk about the upcoming game against the Indianapolis Colts. But at the end of the day, it's a family matter. I really do appreciate that in all reality, my employer let me take 5 weeks to go handle that matter and come back, and they handled it with grace, and I appreciate that. And I'm excited to come back here and repay them with my effort. And so the way he played against Nick Benito, you know, you would have thought this guy's been playing every single week. It was a fantastic, fantastic performance. I believe I read somewhere he had like 1 pressure on Patrick Mahomes all game, maybe 2. It was a very, very good game, and definitely makes him, obviously, even though he was in the later part of the first round, I would argue he has been one of the better tackles that have been drafted in this year. Now, there wasn't a crazy amount of tackles, but you think about the guys that are there. Obviously, there's some notable guys, and he's been one of the better ones when on the field. And so that's the biggest thing for me is obviously want to get him done, but happy to have him back, happy to have him down the stretch. And for Kansas City, who, in all reality, they're in a tough situation with trying to figure out and maneuver through this 5-5 record, knowing they have a top team in the AFC to come. And of course, Dallas after that. And Dallas, for as much as you want to say about Jerry Jones and the way he has gone about a couple of different things, the defense looked a lot better. The defense looked a lot better. Now, I understand for the Cowboys, they had a couple of different guys back, but that is something to worry about too, is if you lose this week, there we go. I don't know if it necessarily gets easier for them to continue on with that. And so that's kind of where I want to continue with this and talking about Patrick Mahomes, his play, and ultimately the kind of maneuverability of this squad. And so Patrick today, we talked a bunch about Mahomes yesterday and really breaking down why this team was 5-5 when they have a majority of the better statistics than last year's team. And ultimately, the biggest thing that I think everybody has come to the conclusion of is that the Chiefs are no longer winning those one-score games. And so with that all to be said, with them not winning those one-score games, Mahomes has been asked a lot about how can he fix this, how can he fix that. Well, today he was talking about his intermediate passes and why those kind of weren't exactly going to a good spot. I think that's kind of the way to put it. And so he talked to the media and gave us a pretty interesting, I guess, idea of what defenses are actually throwing at him and why that is going to be affecting him probably more than some others. He says, quote, "Teams are playing more man coverage against us, which gives more opportunities to throw the ball downfield. But until we prove we can hit those throws down the field, teams are going to continue to play man coverage." And this is something that I think all of us can kind of, especially the ones who watch the games pretty intently, you can kind of tell with teams and how they play the Kansas City Chiefs. When they look at the defense, it's been a lot of man coverage because as much as I want to sit here and say that Mahomes can do this or Mahomes hasn't been doing that, I think it also goes to the point that for Kansas City, their wide receivers aren't getting open like they used to against man coverage, and they're not being able to hit those downfield routes. Like Tyquan Thornton has had a couple catches, but where's Xavier Worthy in this? Where's Rashee Rice with the downfield routes? And so that's why they can play that man coverage, put a spy with a linebacker, and they've got a pretty good shot doing it. And Patrick Mahomes, I love him, but he's made some pretty horrendous throws. I mean, look at the couple throws he made in the Denver game, and it was not exactly the best thing for him and for the organization as a whole. And so hopefully that can kind of be fixed in the upcoming game against the Indianapolis Colts. If they can hit the downfield routes, they're going to be able to win these one-score games. If they can hit the downfield routes, they're going to be able to score a lot more of the points than what they haven't been and win those one-score games and be able to, in all reality, get to the playoffs. And so that's definitely something to look at. And before we end today's show, I did want to go back and talk a little bit about Isaiah Pacheco because he is a very big part of this offense. And I went through a couple of statistics yesterday in the show talking about how the Chiefs seem to be a little bit more predictable than in prior years, where when they're under center, they're going to run the football a lot of times. They're not going to throw the football. And so teams even when they're under center, they can send the blitz a majority of the time, and they'll either get home to Patrick in time, who doesn't really throw that much on under center. I think he threw like 25 times as to opposed to like 85 times when they ran. So that's something that could also help, but also just having Isaiah Pacheco be a more breakaway running back would be good. And so, as we mentioned today, he is back at practice. He does have that knee brace. I am curious to see what his practice designation is, not for today specifically, because it's obviously going to be limited in his first practice back, but I'm more curious to see Thursday, Friday, does he get to the point where he's going to be a full participant? Because if he's not going to get to that point, then I think the thought of him playing this week is maybe one that we should stick away from. But if he can play, he definitely is going to help this Kansas City Chiefs squad. He has 78 carries for 329 yards. Nothing is exactly going amazing for him this season. Obviously, though, it's Isaiah Pacheco. We know what he's capable of going back 2 years ago when he was a fantastic rusher, just a couple of yards short of 1,000 yards. Obviously, last year there was some injury bugs and stuff that kind of caught him, and ultimately couldn't have that same season. So we don't know that 2022, 2023 Isaiah Pacheco, where he was 900 yards, 800 yards, closing in on 1,000, is still in the tank, but you have to believe that it's there for him and that he can actually come out and play that way. But the big question is he going to be back this week? Is he going to be available for Kansas City to use and to, in all reality, be a contributor to this team? Because if he can contribute, and it's not just him and Kareem Hunt, or excuse me, if it's not just Kareem Hunt and Brashard Smith, then that could change the outlook of this team. It could change the outlook of how we view the Indianapolis Colts game, and they could legitimately go out there and win. I mean, we talked about it yesterday. The Kansas City Chiefs have not lost to an AFC opponent in Arrowhead Stadium since Christmas of 2023, nearly 2 years ago. Now, obviously, a 15-1 season helps that out, but this season still haven't lost to an AFC team in Arrowhead. They've been much better at home. They have been away. The Colts are coming off a bye, which in theory could be some good things because they're going to get guys rested and ready, and they have Jonathan Taylor and Daniel Jones, and those guys getting a week off is definitely good for them. But in the same breath, could maybe throw them off their game. They barely beat the Falcons in the international game before they had that bye week. And what's to say they don't come out there flat and the Chiefs take advantage of it. But a big thing is getting Isaiah Pacheco out there on the field, because that presents a whole new level to the defense to have to expect, to have to anticipate, and in all reality, to have to plan for. Because people want to say that, yeah, you can look at the stats this season and it's not good for Pacheco, but in all reality, you know what he's capable of. And you know what he can do. And if he's able to get the ground game going, that changes the way the defense has to play. It changes the way that Patrick Mahomes is able to kind of run this offense. And Matt Nagy could really open up some interesting plays, which I think at this point I talk about for the Chiefs wanting to kind of save those plays, save the playbook, be in a good spot. But as of right now, I think it's that time where you're 5-5. The playoffs, I'm not going to say are in a balancing point, but they're definitely teetering there. They're getting there. And so I think at this time, start bringing out plays. And if Pacheco can do some cool things, that creates for a whole new offensive identity for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's all we got for you today on the Chiefs Report. We thank you again so much for making us part of your daily listen. Again, some interesting topics, obviously, today with OBJ. We'll keep you updated tomorrow. Again, that injury designation list for Isaiah Pacheco, but also special announcement tomorrow. We're actually going to be having a cool combo video with our Indianapolis partner here on the Rogue Sports Network. So a little bit of a preview action tomorrow. Going to get my side on the Chiefs side. Going to get their side from the Colts side. Lots of cool things coming your way. So excited for tomorrow's show, and make sure you come back and watch that one. So we appreciate you. We'll see you next time here on the Chiefs Report, guys. Peace out, everybody. Peace out.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.